Hello, everyone. I am here to, welcome myself back. I've been gone for a few weeks now. Um, I was processing multiple situations, and that was taking me some time and silence. Um, I do have some stuff typed up here just to make sure that I cover all bases, right? I've learned a lot of lessons in the past few months. Okay, I'm always learning lessons. We're always learning lessons. At least, I feel that is the goal when it comes to. If you're working to become a better person at all times, then you're learning lessons. But a lot in the past few months, right? I experienced a complex spiritual situation and a discrediting of my creative works and my spiritual connection, accompanied by regurgitation and external source claiming my own works and my life wisdom. But this discrediting, this complex situation had been extremely difficult for me to navigate energetically and grasp mentally. But it really came down to not caring how I'm misinterpreted, how I'm misrepresented, or how I'm misperceived. I was surrounded in my energetic field, by the insecure projections of others. And before doing some healing on what is mine and what is not mine, I unfortunately took upon these projections of others' shame and of their own insecurities, right? And this had me feeling betrayed, mostly the swindling of my own creative works and my own life experience, my life lived wisdom. I felt betrayed, confused, and quite frankly unsafe. I felt unsafe energetically. Through healing, though, through doing this work of what is mine and what is not mine, I recognize that projection in itself does not make me feel unsafe. As I know I am not these things. I know I am not these people. I am not their insecurities. I'm not their burdens. What made me feel unsafe was feeling as though I had had a support system and it turning out to be false, that I did not have a support system, not a genuine support system. And this is what made me feel unsafe. I know I'm separate from these projections, right? I was urged into quick learning of mental and energetic boundaries in order to remove others' projections from my space, their projections and their own personal burdens from my field. They served as a resource for reflection and learning deeper complexities of humanity and the ways in which relating to each other works. All right. Regardless, projection continues to happen and always will, as I've noticed this, or I've learned now that this is a process through which humans, again, relate. How they learn about themselves, about their traumas, and about their experience of relation with others, with the collective, right? However, I've learned to expect the unexpected when it comes to this kind of stuff. I've learned to not attach to these things, and I've learned to understand myself and others deeper through this process, to understand reactions I had left unconscious, the karma that every person moves through naturally, and to grow from it, to adapt and expand from this serious oddity of others attempting to victimize me when I'm not a victim, of trying to place their own personal limitations and ashamed projections upon my authenticity and vulnerable expression of self. It was a much needed lesson in in the area, the nature of projection. Now I understand where it comes from and why it needed to happen continuously for me. Of course, lessons of strength and of healing, for the purpose of healing. I understand this energy, projection energy, the others that project, humans in general. I understand that now. I understand the motives and the unconscious wounding within the other, and most importantly within myself, that has to be present for this kind of thing to happen, for this for projection to happen, for projection of shame and insecurity and wounding upon other people to happen. Okay, through the healing of perspective, consistent perspective shifting, and through compassion for the self and the other, I'm able to now find gentle forgiveness for the projections of others, for the places in which they come from, which is always from wounded places, right? I understand now a deeper level of complexity of human relation, and how these things can actually build us and help us grow through layered reflection, through this back and forth, this interconnection, right? Where it comes in at all angles and you go out from all angles. I still haven't found the word for that. In my last message, there had been I had been expressing and verbalizing a dream that I had, where it was like the inside and the outside were working together. It seemed like they were working against each other, but they were actually working together. And then it was like all angles, all sides, diagonally, left, right, up, down, whatever. It's everything moves as one. Everything is one part. And it really helped me. This situation, multiple situations here, multiple experiences with multiple different people have helped me to understand deeper our interconnection and the relation through mirrors and reflections and projections and all of that stuff. All right, I'm able to really understand where people come from, where I come from, and how it works together, seemingly against each other, but together. Regardless of the weirdness that has occurred, I'm still going to share my messages with the collective and express my truth and my wisdom, even if someone is to, swindle that, because it is what I am here to do on this planet at this time. Okay, my creation and my light has its own unique expression, place, and impact, as does anyone else's. Okay, my story and my authenticity has its own place on this planet, has its own place in the collective, and again, has its own impact, its own influence. And it is important, none less than another, and vice versa, right? I shine, and I do so with love. And understanding that everyone has their own pains and their own perceptions that cause them to see and act in the ways in which they do. Even if there is, whether it's conscious or unconscious, intentional or non-intentional, to harm another, okay, where there may be any sort of disdain or malice or, misguiding of others. It all has its own important purpose. My hair looks so frizzy. Fing. Okay, so I'm going to continue to do what I do, to do my thing, to express myself, to share my messages that I get through meditation from Spirit, to share my downloads and my channels as they come through to me. Okay, and to not let another shame me or others shame me for the way in which I choose to express myself, the way in which I was placed here to express myself, or my own path of healing and my own path my own modalities of healing. Okay, the ways in which I move through life are not something to be ashamed of. I am my light and my shine are unique to myself. My creative life force is unique to itself, just as yours is, just as anybody's is. And I, just as anybody else, deserves to share my authenticity and to be supported in my vulnerability, in a way that I vulnerably express my truth. And just because another might be ashamed of doing that themselves, or afraid of doing that themselves, does not make it shameful for me to. Does not make it that there's something wrong with me, because I understand how to vulnerably and deeply express emotions and my life experience and the wisdom that I have gained through such experiences. Okay? It takes two to tango, and respect goes both ways. All right? I recognize my mistakes and acknowledge and claim my responsibility for that which I do and for any time that I may project upon another. And whether others do the same or move through their woundings or through hypocrisy or through disdain for others through themselves, it is not my business and it's not my concern. I will continue to claim what I am here to claim and to take accountability for that which I have to take accountability for. It's a continued process. And I'm not going to be shamed for how I express the ups and the downs, okay? I express both. I express the light and I express the dark. I express the positive and the negative. I express the duality of things in life, and I'm not afraid to share these things. And I hope that each and every person out there will do the same. That you won't be afraid to speak your voice, that you won't be afraid to speak your truth, and share your ups and downs in life, the ebbs and the flows, because we all experience these things. We all experience these negativities and these positivities, the light and the dark. We all experience joy and we all experience heartbreak. We all experience pain and we all experience soothing, okay? And I think it's important for everyone to share these things because the world is in dire need of authenticity and vulnerable self-expression, and it's not out there enough. And I find it very saddening that there are people, that it's most of the planet that does place shame upon someone else's vulnerable expression of themselves. Tries to make others feel as though there's something wrong with them for the way in which they express their life experiences. Okay? Now, there's always healing to be done throughout the collective, throughout our lives. But none of us should ever feel ashamed or be made to feel ashamed or be made to feel disrespected for the ways in which we share ourselves. Okay? Especially when it's not done without harm to others. Right? So each on their own path and each in their own time. Right? It's not something I'm going to take upon myself anymore. Throughout years of my life, I have taken on the burdens of others. I have taken on the projections, the opinions, the ideas, the rigidities of others upon my back. And it's caused a lot of stress in my life. And I feel if you're someone that taps into my videos frequently, you've done the same. You've experienced the same throughout your life, as things being placed upon you or taking them on. Both being placed upon you and you taking them on. You taking them on because they're being placed upon you, and then being placed upon you because you're taking them on, right? It's an energetic boundary thing. We have to learn energetic and mental boundaries and emotional strength and resilience to not have this kind of thing happen, okay? Whether you put a label on yourself or not, whether you call yourself maybe a wounded healer or a spiritual warrior, or what else? What other labels do people use here? There's other labels, but you get what I'm saying, right? Whether you choose to or not, Oh, generational curse breaker. There's another one. These are all labels that people put on themselves, which I don't think are necessary, right? I don't think it's necessary to label ourselves, but um, these are all the kinds of groups and collectives that have experienced much projection upon them, that have experienced much and taking on other people's perspectives, maybe people pleasing wounds, okay, that come from the childhood. And people from these collectives can project those things onto each other as well, and it's something to really work on and to not be afraid to share, to not be afraid to heal and be vulnerable with your process. As ugly as the process gets, it's not a pretty process, and nobody is perfect, and nobody knows greater, nobody knows greatest, nobody is perfectly healed, nobody is the greatest guru it's not, it's very rare that there are ascended masters out there. And those people you're probably going to find in the mountains, meditating under a tree, right? So it's what I'm getting at here is that nobody's perfect, and we're not here to place judgment upon others, and we're not here to take on the judgments of others either. Okay, we're here to live our lives and not be ashamed for our own unique shine, for our own unique light, for our own creative life force that we burst outside of ourselves, that we emit, that flows through us. Okay, the way in which we express our solar plexus energy, the creation within us, is unique and important and impactful in each and every person in their own way. Each and every being in their own way. Each and every plant, each and every animal, each and every cloud, right? And it's nothing to be ashamed of, okay? When I respect everyone, until they show me that I should not, until they show me that I cannot trust them. Okay, when disdain or disgrace or dishonor, and even some cases malice, is directed towards me, whether behind my back or to my face, I will no longer respect someone. And I feel that as though that should be expected, and I feel as though that is a reasonable and boundary of common sense. When someone doesn't respect you, you're not going to respect them. And now it doesn't have to be a back and forth. This is where we get stuck in that fighting and that clashing and ego battles and power struggles, which are not necessary or conducive to growth. I mean, in some cases they can be when it comes to reflection, when it comes to projection and reflection and mirroring, right? But it's not necessary to continue the fight, right? Even if you are being pushed to, even if you are being baited, we'll say, it's not necessary to give in to these things, right? And you can understand that you don't have respect for someone without engaging in this kind of power struggle, ego battle, right? But in saying this, I am, and everyone is, deserving of equal connection. I am, and everyone is, deserving to be understood and supported for who they truly are. Okay? For others to align their words with their actions and to be treated with respect that they bring to the table. I deserve to be treated with respect, for I bring that to the table. Okay, I will not be, in my life personally, I will not prove myself to another with their, I will not prove myself to another that has their own shortcomings and their own burdens. I will not be taking on the weight of other people's work any longer in my life. If someone continues to project upon me, or if others continue to project upon me, or as I said, they always will, right? This is human relation. It's part of human relation. Or continue to regurgitate my work and my life experience, that is their own complexity to deal with and to understand, and not mine to try to break myself apart to understand why someone else chooses to do this. My job is to take my own accountability. And that is the job of every person, I feel, is to take accountability for their own emotions and their own life. But that does not invalidate the experiences in which you go through. Okay, that does not. If you were harmed, if someone did intentionally, whether conscious or unconscious, intentionally harm you, intentionally disgrace you, or direct disdain or even malice in your direction, it's not discredited by your accountability of your wrongdoings. Again, it takes two to tango. Respect is a two-way street. In an ideal world, both sides of every situation take their accountability, and that doesn't always happen, right? And that's okay. Each on their own time, each on their own path. And it's nothing to be ashamed for either, because people take time to understand things. Everyone takes their own time to understand and process things, because everyone processes things differently. Everyone heals things differently. And it's nothing that anyone should be ashamed for. Okay? Compassion isn't that hard when you understand your own internal experience. You're able to reflect that compassion outwards from your own validation of yourself, right? Moving forward, I hope for everyone to become more conscious of their unconscious, more self-aware and vulnerable to specific woundings through the convoluted process of relation and projection. Okay, and I do so also hope that people learn to not gaslight and take accountability for their own shortcomings and burdens, and not put their weights onto other people's shoulders. Regurgitation of my gained wisdom from my life experience, from my lived life experience, is a peculiar and relatively unjust way for my guidance and messages to be spread, but I am grateful for the spread of my guidance nonetheless. It's been a process to understand where that person is coming from. It's that they feel they don't want to ask for your help when they could use it, and that's okay. Because, again, each in their own time, each in their own path. Everyone heals differently. Everyone processes differently. Everyone moves differently. Everyone experiences life differently, experiences connection. Everyone relates differently. Everyone reflects differently, etc., etc., etc. Okay, and understanding the complexities of human nature and human relation, and accepting those complexities really makes the process of this kind of stuff easier. The understanding and my ability to have compassion for the other, and for the mirroring, it makes it a lot more smooth. The projections of another's shame and wounds upon me has also been a great form of reflection for a weird illusion that I myself once casted outwards from my own personal and varying protection wounds and defense mechanisms, etc., etc. Like, these connected situations have really helped me understand, heal, and embrace a kaleidoscope of my own heart, psyche, and of humanity as a whole. It's been a very awakening process, though, As I said, I'd felt betrayed, confused, unsafe at times. It's been a very awakening and healing process. Like I said, it's like it seemed to be working against each other, but have been working together simultaneously. Okay, it's very infinite. It's the interconnection that's been very enlightening to me. And regardless of how another reacts or feels or projects, I'm able to very much understand and maintain my own understanding of myself, because I know who I am, regardless of the other, right? And regardless of the interconnection of myself and the other, of my soul with the all, right? Of the internal with the external. I will not be shamed back into old limitations and wounds that I have worked through and transcended because another hasn't faced that shame within themselves and created stronger boundaries for themselves. You know, like at one point in my life, I was, along with those labels, wounded healer, generational curse breaker, etc., etc., it does come with this people-pleasing, or even if it's not people-pleasing, it's this desire to fix everyone, help everyone, do everything for everyone else, and leave the self to the side, okay? And that is why I really like to teach and guide through radical self-acceptance and self-love, okay? Because when you are not completely loving on the self, then you feel the need to fix everyone else, heal everyone else, and we are here to serve. If you resonate with my videos, if you're still watching, right? We are here to serve, but that does not mean that you need to dedicate your entire life to it. You need to dedicate your life to yourself, your path, your mission, and then you help others through that experience, okay? And those that overwork themselves in this area are going to shame those that have broken out of that rigid box. Okay? And I will not be placed back in that box. I will not be condensed into a pixel that doesn't accurately represent me and who I am. I will not be shoved into a box so that others can pack me away neatly in the closet for their own comfortability. I will express myself. Okay, another's shame within themselves is not my own. Their insecurities and their woundings are not my own to deal with. Misery loves company, and it will not have mine. It will not have my company. You know, despite what may happen, what may be externally projected upon me, and what I may be healing internally, despite these things, it's the process of life, and I'm not going to attach misery to that. I'm not going to attach, imperfection to that. I'm a human having a human experience, right? Connected to the soul within me. And I'm not going to morph or mold, okay? I'm not going to accept or claim another's rigid ideas, principles, or opinions of the world or of myself, because I deserve to live outside of that. Every person deserves to live outside of those boxes, and should not be forced into another person's box, should not be forced to fit something that isn't fitting them, and should not be shamed for them not fitting into those boxes, those principles, those rigidities, right? I am not another, and another not me, right? I am myself, you are yourself uniquely from the other. Though I am not separate, though we are not separate, I am not the same. We are not the same. Okay, what works for one may not work for all. What works for all may not work for one. And that is okay. Right? That is why each person's creative life force is so unique to the other. Okay, why we reflect off of each other. And it's the woundings and the shadows that get into that end up doing the projection, because they create obstruction to the creative life force. Okay, there was one time I was sitting in meditation and I got that the ego creates the shadow, right? The light shining outwards. You have the ego right in the middle. That creates the shadow that is casted outwards. And that is what, birth for confirmation, that is what is seen. That is what can be projected, okay? Because the shadow, the ego, is blocking that creative life force, that solar plexus energy, that star quality. All right, and this is why we work to dismantle the ego's overprotective mechanisms. All right. Because that shadow separates us from connecting authentically. Okay? And everyone addresses that shadow at their own pace, again, in their own ways, moving through life in their own modalities. And that is not something to be ashamed. Okay? I am purely a reflection for the innards of the other and of the collective. My raw expression, another's raw expression, is nothing to be ashamed for. And my desire to share and be supported in my light and my truth is not something to be ashamed for either. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I have no obligation. No one has any obligation to prove myself, to prove themselves to another human, or shrink for their comfort. I am worthy, empowered, and beautiful as I am. I'm grateful to have encountered such an experience, or such experiences, in the past year, in the past couple years, throughout the entire life, right? But so that I could reach new levels of inner standing and outer standing, of understanding the interconnection of humanity on all of its frequencies, right? I'm grateful for these experiences, though they may be painful, though you may face betrayal, you may face outcasting, misunderstanding, misperception, though you may face confusion and fear, right? C'est la vie, baby. It is a part of life, and I think it's incredibly beautiful and complex, very complex and convoluted process, the human relation and process of connection. Aside from that process and situation, I have more recently experienced a very eye-opening, heart-wrenching, and world-turning experience in romantic love that has burst my heart open and rapidly expanded my perception and capacity of connection and trust of all kinds, okay? And these two kind of coincided with each other and kind of helped me, process each one together and understand each one together, though they happen separately, right? So I've been able to really expand my worldview as of recent, and it has and continues to be a painful process, but one that I am deeply and truly grateful for. Ooh, I got chills when I said that too. Deeply and truly grateful for. Though I've been hurt, my trust has swelled, though I now, and I've always known, of course, that we live in a world that's not very kind, okay? Especially based off of, when it's been built off of, societies and governments and institutions, etc., have been built off of the toxic masculinity, patriarchal, toxic masculine patriarchal concepts and structures. I always, knew that, but it's like, I used to, I guess, be mad about it. I used to be misunderstanding. I used to, want to fight the man or whatever the fuck, right? But now it's like I've had this reversed, this internal reflection of how to experience that in a different way and how to experience the self regardless or aside from that. You know, as I said, everything has its place. Everything has its own unique impact and influence, and these things work together. Even though they could seem as though they're working against each other, they're working together to create something new at all times. Like, this is just it's the cycle of life, right? The gears, one goes one way and the other goes the other way, right? But they're working in the same machine, right? Matrix, if you will. But yeah, though I've been hurt, my trust has swelled. And though it's, of course, it is life. It is painful. I will be hurt again. And that's not something that I am afraid of. My trust opens to even those situations because that is exactly what we learn and we grow through and from, and the ways in which our hearts can be burst open further if you so choose. You can be closed down and you can become cold and bitter and vengeful and disdainful if you choose, but you don't have to, right? And again, each in their own time, each on their own path in their own way. Chills. But life is painful, and that is an omnipotent truth that prevails throughout time and cannot be denied or avoided. All right. Embracing pain in a new way has really opened some new doors for me. A lot of new doors for me. And I'm really excited for where, the new world view and expansion may take me. It feels very... I'll say abundant for lack of better word. It feels big, it feels, I guess, limitless potential. It's very much open. When I say new doors, it's potential. There's so much out there now because I understand things in such a different way. It's exciting. It's really exciting. And, through this, I've understood that letting go, I've had to, come to terms with letting go of love that you weren't even looking for in the first place is different than detaching from love that you once were looking for. This romantic situation that I experienced recently, I wasn't looking for it, and experiencing it was, again, like I said, eye-opening, heart-wrenching, and world-turning. And so it's harder to grieve and let go of that kind of thing, right? Letting yourself grieve, giving yourself time to feel the pain and the joy all the same, and most importantly, I feel accepting the wound as a part of life is the only course of action to fully heal, if you will, the wound, right? And this is with everything. This isn't just with romantic, right? This is platonic, familial, business, etc. Internal, external, spiritual, mental, physical, emotional. It's feeling the pain and the joy all the same, giving yourself time and accepting that the wound is a part of life, not rejecting it. Okay? As I said at some point, none of us are perfect. We're human. And we're meant to be human. And there's no shame in that. Okay? Understanding requires feeling. And feeling requires silence and time. Oh, whoops, here. I skipped a line. To let go requires acceptance. Mama. What I've learned through these experiences is that letting go requires acceptance. Acceptance requires understanding. Understanding requires feeling. And feeling requires silence and time. And giving that to yourself, being graceful with this process, will really help you embrace life at its fullest and come to who you are, and the acceptance of life as it is, the ebbs and the flows, and the insides and outs, right? I understood when I had to walk away from this connection. I understood that I could not keep this romantic love in particular, as our paths were not aligned. Um, they were not to come with me, and that was hard to, it was hard to accept. But it took me a while to accept that meeting this love physically face to face is no longer viable or healthy or beneficial for either party. And that's what took me a while, okay? And this process and the other situations and experiences, they coincided. And so that's why I've been taking time away. That's why I've been dealing with things outside of the collective, I suppose. It's been a very personal process that I've been experiencing that has absolutely opened me up, bursted me open to the collective. It's like I've been embracing through like surrendering, and it's like this very all-encompassing and fulfilling process. And I had to take time and silence for this, right? The grieving process moves in waves, and I flow with each ebb and flow. I go with the motions. Though I see the truth of the situation and the person as they truly are, rose-colored glasses were never what made me love them. The flaws and... Mama, hey. The flaws and the intricacies made for something raw, and I am nothing if not real. And the rawness, it's more than I could ask for. As painful as it was, and as human as they are, it's been very, very enlightening. And throughout the healing of these situations and these experiences and these wounds, I take my own hand in grieving, and I feel a level of love that I haven't before. For myself through the other, and for my soul through the collective. The interconnection of the heart frequency is so bittersweet, and I sure do love my my fruits and vegetables, Pain is alike joy. They're both medicine for the soul, just in different ways, and that has been my greatest lesson in the past couple months. So, as you can see, I've had to take a lot of energy and time for my own introspection and integration, instead of using my energy and my meditation for the collective. But because of this, though, I now have an expanded worldview. Sorry, my she's playing with her ball. I now have an expanded worldview, a greater understanding of life and relation, and a new, more empowered connection to my desire to lead and teach others. Cycles of fighting, of internally and externally, of incessant retrospection and internalizing projection have ended for me in my life. And through those lessons, I can now help guide others in new ways that I was not able to before. I am now able to express raw emotions at an even deeper level and more concisely and precisely than I was prior to these experiences. The integration of shadow and pain alike has been a very impactful experience for my soul and my human overall, and I am extremely excited, without discounting fear, right, to create my path forwards. It's very exciting. It's liberating. It's like, it's all there. Like, I don't know. It's exciting is just the best way to sum it up. I feel revved up and ready to go. I feel like my soul has a paintbrush. It's, like, I feel expanded and open and unlimited, like breaking out of the box and creating new rules for myself and creating new avenues for myself and opening new doors and being more open to being curious and exploring, because no matter what happens, it's all an experience of human relation and love. It's all has its own unique impact and influence, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. Yeah. Nothing to be ashamed of. I actually want to pull a Gaia oracle to end off this message. If there's anybody still here. Okay. My intention of sharing this entire message is to share my experience and my lesson, and to let you know that from here on out, I have a lot of messages coming, and that I am excited to express my wisdom and guide in new ways, in expanded ways. And I guess the intention is to put out there that I'm ready, and I'm, again, excited. I can't stop saying that. I'm ready and I'm excited, and to work with others and to share what I have learned, and to help empower others, help others empower themselves through these lessons that I have learned, through the experiences that I have had, and through what I continue to create moving forward. Okay. Gaia Oracle. What message do you have for myself and the collective alike? One card, please. Well, that sums it up well. Reflection, illusion, self-examination, and distortion. Okay, and this is a card about seeing things through distorted lens, and having to go within to reflect upon these things. Okay. The chaos you perceive or experience in your physical reality simply reflects your inner chaos and turmoil. What you see around you mirrors what you feel within you. Yeah, this is basically, the topic of this entire message is of reflection, is of projection and reflection, and how projection reflects something within yourself, whether it comes from internally or externally, right? Observe your thoughts and feelings throughout the day, and make a note of negative or unconstructive thoughts and feelings. You must delve deep to uncover the truth, okay? You have to, and that's mentally and emotionally, spiritually, and physically even sometimes, depending on your physical health, right? And committing to this reflective journey will be extremely impactful. I'm saying that part. Commit to this reflective journey. Be disciplined in your approach, and you will never look back. The rewards will be greater than you ever imagined. So to finishing it off with that, I want others to know that taking on the process is never easy, but always worth it. Okay, because I've been on the healing journey since early 2019 is when I had my first spiritual awakening. Okay. It's been a long fucking time. That's 6 years, it has been 6 years, because it started it was the 1st of February. I remember it too. I remember it was like, your first spiritual awakening is very, very jarring. And I've been on a healing journey since then. So it's been long. It's not been easy. I have experienced, most of the pain that I have ever experienced in my life has been in the past 6 years. And it was all to help me heal. It was all to help me expand, to understand myself and who I truly am. And I'm extremely grateful for it. It has not been easy, but it's been very much worth it. It's been my favorite journey besides motherhood, that I've taken on in my life. And you know what? If I hadn't taken on the healing journey, the spiritual journey, when I did, then then I might not have been prepared for motherhood in the ways that I have been. I wouldn't, I think it prepared me for motherhood in wonderful ways, and I'm grateful for it and the patience that it has given me to be a mother. The rewards will be greater than you ever imagined. Like, I don't know who is happening across this video, if there's anyone still watching at this point, but if you're just starting this spiritual journey, welcome. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And at the end of it, we're always healing, right? We're always reflecting. We're always finding mirrors in our external, because humans are mirrors, plants, animals. Everything outside of you is a mirror for you, okay? You create your own reality. Anyways, you come to a certain point where you turn around and you recognize where you came from, and that is the reward, is recognizing what you came from, how far you've come, what you've learned. I think that is one of the greatest rewards, and I'm excited to see where that takes me forward. And just if you are starting this journey, be excited. Okay, it's not going to be easy, but I promise you'll get through it, and it's a beautiful process if you allow yourself to understand that pain and joy are alike. They're both medicine for the soul. Okay, I think it's beautiful wisdom that I've attained, is that pain is a beautiful teacher, and it is a part of life, and wounds are not to be rejected, because they do create who you are, and you get to learn yourself through those experiences, right? Do not be, I'm also getting this message here, do not be seduced by the glitz and glamour or by the holy and benevolent facade. Things are not what they seem. Incredible promises are simply that, incredible, okay? It's not looking at everything as though it's all beautiful and perfect, okay? That's what the temptress here will have you doing. The temptress is the seduction of promises, the seduction of perfection, the seduction of something that is, perfect for us, and nothing is perfect and no one is perfect. I think that a lot of people on spiritual paths are seduced by this idea that they will reach some ascended mastery, that they will be the greatest healer, that they will be the most awakened guru, that they will be, I think it's this hierarchical concept that people take from the non-spiritual world into the spiritual world, okay? And it can be very damaging to the self, okay? It's ego-driven. The ego creates the shadow. But our process through this is not something to be ashamed of, okay? We must deceive ourselves over and over again to break open the heart. We must deceive ourselves and have others deceive us to be able to understand human relation and the nature of spirituality, of the soul, of interconnection. Okay? These things must happen. No, don't be swayed by things that seem perfect. Don't be led or guided, misled or misguided by things that promise you a perfect self, a perfect healing, a perfect position, a perfect, etc., etc. We are not perfect. We are human. Everyone does things differently. Everyone's star quality has its own unique impact and influence. And this process of humanity, of being human and of healing, is nothing to be ashamed of. And with that, I close the message. All right. Thank you, everyone that watched, no matter how far into the video. I thank you for sharing your time with me and your energy with me. Thank you for tapping in and being here with me. Much, much, much love from me to you. I have much gratitude for your presence here. And I hope that you could have taken on something from this message to move forward with, or maybe possibly something to reflect upon. And yeah, Thank you. And until next time, guys. Much love. Bye.